He was once hailed as the future of medicine. A man who promised to end suffering, with a synthetic organ grown in a lab. But what the world didn't know, was that this genius was using real patients as human experiments. And one by one, they died. This is the true story of Dr. Paolo Macchiarini, the celebrity surgeon who lied, manipulated, and even killed to prove a theory. They called him a pioneer, but history remembers him as Dr. Death. It all began with an impossible promise. Dr. Macchiarini claimed he could create lab-grown windpipes, seeded with a patient's own stem cells. No more donors. No more rejections. Just pure scientific brilliance. It sounded like science fiction. But hospitals across Europe believed it. Especially Sweden's Karolinska Institute, the same organization that awards the Nobel Prize in Medicine. They gave him everything: a prestigious title, a state-of-the-art lab, and full access to patients who had no other hope. To the media, he was a miracle worker. But behind the scenes? He skipped animal trials, faked test results, and rushed synthetic implants into people's bodies, without proper approval. In 2011, Macchiarini performed his first breakthrough surgery. A young man from Eritrea received a synthetic trachea. The press hailed it as a revolution. But within months, the man was dead. More surgeries followed. Each time, the patients were told they'd be the first to benefit from cutting-edge science. But none of them were told the full truth: that this had never been tested properly, and that Macchiarini's previous patients had already died. By 2014, at least 12 patients had undergone the operation. Most of them died. And yet, the doctor kept going. Why? Because Macchiarini was chasing glory. Scientific journals, TV interviews, awards, even a Netflix documentary deal. And there was another reason: he was dating a producer from NBC, who believed they were getting married. She later found out he was married the entire time. The lies weren't just professional. They were personal. Meanwhile, whispers began inside Karolinska. Doctors and researchers started noticing irregularities. Data didn't match. Success rates were faked. And patients were suffering far worse outcomes than the hospital publicly admitted. 3 whistleblowers stepped forward. They risked their careers to expose the truth. And what they uncovered was chilling. Documents falsified. Deaths misclassified as complications. Consent forms altered or missing entirely. But even after being exposed, Macchiarini doubled down. He denied everything. He said the science was real. He claimed the patients were dying anyway, that he had nothing to lose. In 2016, after mounting pressure, Karolinska finally fired him. But it was too late. By then, most of his patients were either dead or living in agony with failed implants. And the institute? It faced one of the biggest scandals in its 200-year history. Finally, in 2022, Swedish prosecutors charged him with aggravated assault. Not murder, but close. They argued that the surgeries had no medical justification, and that Macchiarini knowingly caused irreparable harm. At trial, he showed no remorse. No apology. Just cold, clinical justification. He truly believed he was doing something great, even as patients died under his scalpel. One woman, Yesem Satir, suffered for years after her operation. Her synthetic windpipe failed repeatedly. She endured more than 200 surgeries trying to stay alive. In the end, her father said, "We trusted him, and he killed her." Today, Paolo Macchiarini is no longer a practicing doctor. But his legacy lives on, as a cautionary tale of ego, ambition, and unchecked power in medicine. This wasn't just malpractice. It wasn't just fraud. This was calculated, clinical cruelty. And all to prove a theory. This is the terrifying story of the man once called a medical genius, who became Dr. Death. Subscribe to @criminalminds_USA for more true stories of betrayal, conspiracy, and chilling crimes that actually happened.